this journey, this hair transplant stuff is a process. Like, you're gonna need a lot of patience. You're gonna need a lot of patience. You're gonna need so much patience. You're gonna need like faith too, I feel like. You're gonna look batshit crazy. You're gonna look fugly as hell. You're gonna look messed up. You're not gonna look pretty at all. You're not gonna look good. You're gonna look horrible. Like, I'm gonna just be real with you.
This verse starts as my snipers hit their marks and your guards fall down from a rifle to the heart like...
Hey, what's up everyone? As you can tell by the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about the 5 commonly most asked questions that I've gotten since getting my hair transplant. It's been almost a year since I've gotten my hair transplant in Turkey, and I've just decided to talk about what exactly my experience was like getting a hair transplant, everything that I've learned since, and then things that I'm still figuring out, and what knowledge I can share to people that are interested in the topic or might be considering doing this themselves. So hopefully I'm able to give you some more information that you're able to benefit from. And let's get right into it. I wrote like some questions down, so I'm just gonna go through them. First question is, where did you go to get your hair transplant? I went to a clinic called Heva Clinic in Istanbul, Turkey. The clinic is spelled H-E-V-A. I came across this clinic when researching for clinics online, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, like a lot of different places. The reason why I chose this clinic was because I saw they did a lot of work on African American hair, and I was pleased with the work that they had done. I would definitely recommend anyone who's looking to get a hair transplant or is thinking about getting one, definitely do your research because there are a ton of clinics out there. So yeah, I went to this clinic because I saw they did a lot of work on African American hair. And I would recommend to anybody that is wanting to go get a hair transplant while you're researching and looking for places to go and trying to find a clinic that may be the best for you, whether it's in Turkey or somewhere in the United States or wherever. Look for people that look like you, that have the same hair texture as you, or maybe suffering from hair loss in the same areas that you are. Look at their before and their after results and really see, like, is this what you want? Is this the same? Is this the same areas that you are experiencing hair loss in yourself? So I would definitely recommend like just doing your research, looking at a bunch of clinics. There's literally there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of clinics out there. Definitely don't rush, do your research, try to find the clinic that's best for you. And then, like I said, look for a clinic that has people that look like you or has worked on people that are experiencing hair loss in the same areas that you are. One thing that I would recommend is looking up a Norwood chart, Norwood. So a Norwood chart will show you how severe your hair loss is and where exactly you are on that Norwood chart. So I know for me personally, I believe I was like a Norwood 3, if I remember correctly. And I feel like the Norwood chart goes up to 7. So it depends. It depends on how severe your hair loss is, where exactly your hair loss is. Not everybody experiences it in the same areas. I would definitely look up a Norwood chart and just kind of get an idea of what your hair loss looks like. Honestly, message as many clinics as possible. Message all these clinics because their prices are going to vary. Their openings when they're available is going to vary. There's going to be so many varying factors. Some may recommend more grafts. Some may recommend less grafts. So you have nothing to lose by just contacting clinics. Download WhatsApp, message them on WhatsApp. They'll send you all their information, their prices, before and after photos, which is really important, of people that they've already worked on. You're not hurting yourself or losing any money. You're not losing anything really by just contacting clinics. So contact them, get in touch with them, show them your photos or like where your hair loss may be. Like I said, you have nothing to lose. Like just message them, just talk to them. At the end of the day, you could always say no. You don't have to go. You don't have to go to them, you know. and just speak to as many people as you can before you put down like a deposit. I would like to give more information on that and kind of like my perspective. So in another video, I'll go into that a bit more of how to find the best clinic for yourself and maybe things that you should do to pick the best clinic that's like right for you. So I'll talk about that in another video. Let's see, my second question. Another common question that I was getting a lot was, how much did this cost? First thing I want to say is I went to Turkey, and the cost of getting a hair transplant in Turkey is substantially less than doing it in the United States. The US and Turkey are not the only places that do hair transplants. To my recent discovery, hair transplants are pretty common in other places like Africa as well as Korea. I had no idea they did hair transplants in those locations either, but they do. When it comes to price, like I said, the US is gonna be a lot more than going to somewhere, and I'm just gonna use Turkey for an example because that was my experience, that's where I went. The US is gonna be a lot more than Turkey. The US varies in prices, but it's always gonna be more money for less grafts. That's another thing. Whatever you're gonna pay in the US, more likely than not, you're gonna get less grafts than you do somewhere else like Turkey. I know me myself, when I went to go do my hair transplant, I got 3,300 grafts, and I believe I paid about $2,500. It was about $2,500 I paid, and that was for the procedure itself. So that's how much the procedure was itself for 3,300 grafts that I got. And then I live in LA, so I flew out of LAX straight to Turkey. I didn't have any stops. I didn't have any connecting flights, nothing like that. I flew straight from LAX to Turkey, and the flight was about 13 or 14 hours, and I had a round trip flight with no stops. So, you know, when you don't have stops, the cost of the flight is going to be a little bit more. The cost of your trip is going to be a little bit more. So my flight though was $1,400. So $1,400, LAX to Turkey, 13, 14 hours, round trip, flew back, same amount of time, no stops as well. That's how much I paid for my flight. In total, that's about $4,000 that I paid. I can't really give you prices on specific clinics in the US because I don't know. A lot of clinics are they're just gonna charge you like a lot more, that's what it is. But I don't even think it's really the price that matters the most. It's like the quality of their work and if they're the best clinic for you and your specific situation. You can find a good clinic in the US, you can find a good clinic in Turkey, you can find a good clinic in Africa or Korea. You just have to find the right clinic for you and your needs and what you need. So another thing, I've seen clinics, they take cash, like they'll take US dollars, they take cash, they'll take credit. If you use credit, they're gonna put a tax on, you know, charging you using your credit card. So just know that you can use a credit card, but it's gonna cost you more if you use a credit card versus just giving them cash. And then also another thing I wanna say too is I believe the prices of these clinics is going to vary. So it's been almost a year since I've gotten my transplant. Their prices might have changed from that time. And I've also seen clinics have discounts, sales, I guess you could say, or just like incentives or like some type of deal going on. Maybe it's a slow season for them and they're just giving out better rates on hair transplants and stuff like that. The rates are not always the same. And then even when I was looking at other clinics, I looked at people that have visited those clinics years ago and learned how much that they had paid versus what the prices are today. But like I said, it also varies on the amount of grafts that you get. So vary on how many grafts you get and then just what their pricing is at that point. So like what it'll really come down to. My next question number 3. I get asked a lot, did it hurt? Because if you've seen hair transplants before, especially like in the process or right after the process, it looks pretty painful, it looks pretty gruesome. And I would say, in my opinion, I would say, yes, it hurt, but it wasn't something it wasn't an unbearable pain. Yes, it hurt to an extent, but it was not an unbearable pain for me. And I'm somebody that does not like pain. I don't like taking pain. I don't like feeling pain. Like it's not my thing. I don't care for it. I don't want to be in pain. So I try to stray away from things that are going to put me in pain. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give the hair transplant pain wise, I would give it a, I think I would give it a 6.5. I think I would give it a 6.5. Maybe a 7, but I think I would give it like a 6.5. It's not something that I want to feel again. I was definitely uncomfortable. You know, they took care of me. I felt, you know, safe and all that, but it's not something that I want to feel again. Just to give you guys a bit of insight about it, when I went to get the hair transplant, before they started the procedure, they did give me local anesthesia. So I got 4 shots in the back of my head. Well, 4 shots in my head in total. I remember like 2 of them were kind of in the back, and then maybe 2 more were like more so in the front. They gave me 4 shots, and then after that, I took a pill. So after they gave me the pill, they started the procedure not too long after. And for me, procedure was not painful really. It was more so just, it was just a very tedious process, because what they're doing is extracting grafts from the back of your head, spinning them down, and then inserting them in the areas where you're having hair loss. So they're taking the grafts and they're putting it into each like hair follicle one by one. And sometimes there's multiple like hair strands in the follicle, so it's not like just one. Sometimes it's like 2 or 3 or whatever. But you need a lot of them, you know? All of your hair shafts have several hairs coming out of them. It's very tedious. That's all I could say. Like, it was very tedious. And if anything, I feel like, not that I get it a lot or anything, but I definitely was experiencing anxiety, because for me, it wasn't really even the pain. It was the fact that I had to sit down, like lay down and just lay there for 8 hours. And I keep feeling this feeling like of them. It's not a puncture feeling, but just like I could feel them insert each graft. And it wasn't a painful feeling, but it was just something that I could feel every time they did it. And mind you, they're probably doing this hundreds, if not thousands. Well, yeah, thousands. There's thousands of them that they're doing over an 8 or 9 hour period. To feel each one of those and not move and just like lay there was, I felt like stuck. Like I felt like I couldn't move, you know? So I feel like I was getting anxious. I was getting anxious. I was getting anxiety, and I just wanted to get up. I remember towards the end, there was a point where I asked the technicians, I was like, can I get up, stand up? Like, I just need a short break really quick. And they were telling me like, we're almost done. They let me take a break though, but they're like, we're almost done. Like, you don't have too much longer. And I was like, okay, cool. Mind you though, I will say I did have a break in between. I didn't sit in the chair for 8 hours straight. I did get a break. They give you a lunch break. I had a break in the middle for like probably 30 or 45 minutes or something like that. But I wasn't just in the chair straight way through. But you are gonna have to be in the chair for a really long time. What was the part that bothered me? I was just, you know, sitting there. I was just laying there, feeling all these grafts go into my scalp, and it was annoying more so. Personally, I wasn't in pain. That's the best way I could describe it. Like, I wasn't in agonizing, you know, unbearable pain. And I think the pain may be different for different people. So, you know, what I experience may not be the same for everybody else, but it's definitely like not comfortable. You're not gonna really feel like relaxed and comfortable. So there's that. I hope what I said about if it hurt her, I hope what I just said about the pain and if it hurts makes sense. I tried like the best I could. So yeah, it's not the best feeling in the world, you know, but I do think it's bearable. Here's a way that I could maybe make it more clear to anybody watching. Would I do it again? No. Would I want to do it again? No. No. And some people have to go back for multiple transplants, and that's like another story, but would I do it again? No. I wouldn't want to do that again. It's a lot going on, and I don't want to do that again. So if that sums it up for you, hopefully that lets you know how it is. My next question. So how long for results? So how long for results? Full results are gonna take anywhere between 12 to 18 months. I will be at the 12-month mark personally in 2 weeks. And I feel like I still have some ways to go personally. And I also noticed, I feel like, I could be wrong, but I feel like my hair grows a bit slower than most. I don't I don't I don't think I have like super fast hair growth. So there's that I feel like plays a factor. And what I will say is, I'm gonna continue to show you. I'm gonna show you guys actually how my hair looked because I have pictures and some videos of this whole journey up to this 12-month mark, but of how my hair looked, how it used to look, and then how it looks now. Because there's a substantial like difference. There's a huge difference, and I'll say, I think the part that I'm happiest about is my hairline. Like my hairline is like night and day compared to what it used to look like. So I'm gonna show you guys some clips. I'm gonna like insert them somewhere on the screen and show you guys like some clips of what my hairline used to look like. And then this is what it looks like now. And it's very like natural. It's still like growing in, but compared to how my hairline used to look, it's like night and day. My hairline is like night and day compared to what it used to look like. I it I'll try to show you guys some pictures, but my hairline was receding a lot, and I just feel like I feel a lot more confident and just a lot less self-conscious about my hairline now. Yeah, I'm just like way more confident with how my hairline looks now. So I will say though too, personally, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, I was watching a lot of guys because there's more people that don't post about hair transplants than people that do. So when you find people that look like you or people that had the same experience as you, or they have hair loss in the same areas, or they have the same hair texture, whatever it is, there's a couple people that I found that I felt like, okay, these are kind of like good guides just as far as like maybe what I could expect and things of that nature. But through this journey, like I've definitely learned not to compare my situation to other people's, because all it did was disappoint me. And I'm not saying that just because you find someone with a similar situation that you won't end up getting similar results, but genetics, everybody's body is wired so differently that I don't think it's fair to expect 100% of what you see somebody else has. That's kind of like what I've learned. For example, there are guys on YouTube that I was comparing myself to. And so like currently I use finasteride and minoxidil. I take it orally. But there are guys that I was watching on YouTube who took a different route and didn't do any medical therapy. And it worked out for them. I don't know how they're doing now, but at the time, like just watching their journey and like how they were progressing, it was working for them. And I was like, okay, I'd rather not take medication if I don't have to. So I went I guess you can call it the natural route, I don't know, but I didn't take any medical therapy for the first 6 months. And the thing too is your clinic, not that you have to, but your clinic will tell you like, you may need to do PRP, or you may need to have finasteride, minoxidil, rosemary oil. They may say those things to you because it may help enhance your hair growth, or it may help enhance the thickness of your hair, how quickly it grows, things of that nature. So they tell you all those things before you even get the transplant because it may benefit you later on down the line. But what I was gonna say is I was watching a lot of guys who basically, they were taking like biotin. They were taking biotin and like zinc and stuff like that, like vitamins, really, not medication, but vitamins. Excuse me. I have a cold and I'm trying my best to like sound normal, but I kind of have a cold right now. Yeah, they had like really good results by like month 6. Like month 6, they were almost like fully, I don't want to say fully recovered, but they have just made substantial progress by month 6. So the whole time is going by, I'm like, oh, like by month 6, by month 7 or whatever, like I should be straight. And that did not happen for me. Personally, like that did not happen for me. So I kind of fell short of my expectations in that sense. Like I was expecting more, and at the time that I was comparing myself to other people, I wasn't getting those same results. So I kind of felt discouraged at the time. But I'll tell you this, so for the first 6 months, I didn't do any type of medications for the first 6 months. But once I did hit 6 months, that's when I started taking minoxidil, and I was only taking minoxidil, and I was doing topical minoxidil. And I'll get into it another video about my experience with minoxidil. But basically, once I started taking the minoxidil, I had substantial like growth. Like, and again, I'll try to show you guys pictures of like maybe when I was at 6 months, like right when I was like about to start minoxidil, and then once I hit 9 months. From my 6 month mark to my 9 month mark, my hair started to fill in so much. So the minoxidil definitely worked for me. And I say all that to say, some people may not need medication. Some people it may help out. Some people, like I'm just saying, like everybody's situation is different. Everyone's situation is different. So it's definitely good to find people and use them as like a guide maybe. But you know, I would just say like what I've learned for me personally, not not everything that applies to everybody else is going to apply to me in the same manner. So that's kind of like what I learned. Like those guys, they may not have needed medication, but me and my situation and or my genetics or whatever it comes down to, that medication helped enhance my results. Like it helped me out substantially so much. So that's another thing I'll say. But then also this, and I'm sorry I'm like ranting, but this journey, this hair transplant stuff is a process. Like you're gonna need a lot of patience. You're gonna need a lot of patience. You're gonna need so much patience. You're gonna need like faith too. I feel like you're gonna need faith. You're gonna need patience, and you're gonna need, if whoever you do decide to tell, you know, it's your business, but positive people around you, I guess, because it's a journey. I'm almost at 12 months, and I still feel like I have a long way to go, kind of. Yeah, to answer that, full results, 12 to 18 months in total. So 12 to 18 months, you could expect like full result for your procedure. Okay, so last question, question number 5. And this question I think is like, it's kind of my favorite question to answer because I feel like it's my favorite question to answer because I feel like it's so relatable, and it's something that everybody who gets a hair transplant, it kind of crosses their mind. And it's probably something that you're all gonna have to deal with if you decide to get a hair transplant. So the 5th question was, did I go out in public? And of course, yes, I did go out in public, but people wanna know, how did you handle having a hair transplant and still going about your normal day-to-day life? That's basically what it comes down to. The thing is, when you get a hair transplant, you're obviously going to look crazy. You're gonna look batshit crazy. You're gonna look fugly as hell. You're gonna look messed up. You're not gonna look pretty at all. Your beauty is pain. You're not gonna look good. You're gonna look horrible. Like, I'm gonna just be real with you. You're not, I mean, you know, everybody's beautiful, but you're not gonna look like yourself. It's definitely gonna look like something is off, something is wrong. You just gonna look different. You're gonna look real different. That's all you know, and y'all seen the pictures. Like you're gonna look different. You're gonna look odd, especially to people that don't know what's going on or what you're doing. You're just gonna look different. So I say all that to say, yes, I did go out in public. At the time, I was no longer working from home personally. So this is like kind of how I handled it. I was no longer working from home. I had to go back into the office. I moved departments. I had got a new role. So I had to go into the office. The first time I went into the office was 10 days after I got the transplant. So I didn't know any of the people in that office. I didn't know any of them. They didn't know me. They never seen me before. And I went 10 days after I got the transplant. And nobody said anything to me. Nobody asked me what was going on. And you could tell something happened or something was going on, or like I had a really fucked up haircut or really jacked up haircut, something. Like, you wouldn't see that. And maybe, you know, you don't say anything out of courtesy. Maybe you don't say nothing out of courtesy, or you're just trying to be polite. But it's noticeable. Like, So anyway, I went to work. Nobody said anything to me about it. Nobody questioned me. People kind of looked, but I think like once they saw me every day, it was just kind of like, that's just how he looks. Like, but no, not a soul asked me anything. I like my social life and stuff like that. I did not go out. I did not go out. And mind you, I didn't tell anybody about me getting a hair transplant for like 9 months. I'm almost at 12 months right now. And I didn't really even tell people. I told like two very close friends, and other than that, only my parents knew. But for the first 9 months, I didn't tell anybody. I just posted it on social media, and that's how like people who know about it found out. But I didn't tell anybody. And honestly, I'm the type of person who would have just did it and never said anything. But I don't know. Something's like something's just making me want to talk about it and hopefully like help people. So I'm gonna talk about it. I did not go out. I was not going to parties. I was not going to clubs. I was not meeting up with friends. Just because I didn't want them, I didn't really want anyone to know, but I didn't want them to see me like that. I didn't want, it is probably a personal thing. Some people probably don't care, which is cool. If you don't care, then you don't care. I will say, when I did go out, of course I would leave the house. Like, I'd be going to like Target or a gas station or the car wash or the grocery store or something like that. I would go to normal places. And me, I was very strategic about it. Wherever I went, I would go places where I knew I wouldn't see anybody that I knew. And that was just in general. Wherever I was going, anytime I left the house, if I wasn't at work, but anytime I left the house, I was going places where I knew I was not gonna see people that I knew, and I did that purposely. Like, but this is all me. Like, you guys don't have to do this. You don't have to avoid people. You don't have to do that. This is just like how I handled it, what I did. I know people ask too, like another thing, if you can wear hats and put things on your head. They don't recommend that you put anything on your head when you first get the transplant. So you're gonna have to go a little while without wearing hats and stuff like that on your head. But I feel like after a couple weeks, I just got comfortable with it. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna let my hair breathe. I'm not around, anybody whose opinion I care about that much. Like, I don't care about nobody's opinion when I go to work. It's nobody to show up for there. Like, I don't care about nobody's opinion at work. And then, when I was with my parents, they didn't care. And then I wasn't around friends, and I wasn't going to like social gatherings and events and stuff. So nobody knew. Nobody would look at me. I didn't put myself in a predicament where I would have to feel possibly embarrassed or insecure. Like, I didn't do that. So that's how I handled that. A lot of people ask, if you can wear hats and stuff like that though, still. So I did wear hats if I was going out in public and I was going to be around people. And it was just that kind of like social environment or setting. And this was not right after. This was like down the line, months in. I would maybe wear a hat. And like I said, I wasn't going out this whole time. But if I had to go out and I had to go to something where I was going to see people or possibly somebody I knew, I wear a hat. I remember I saw like a friend of mine that I didn't tell about it, and I just put on a do-rag because, it's a do-rag. Like, I would wear do-rags all the time, so it wasn't anything abnormal. I just put on a do-rag. And for the time that I was around them, I just wore the do-rag. A couple hours I was hanging out with somebody, just put the do-rag on, and like, if you don't bring any attention to it, then people aren't gonna really know either. So I feel like it's all about how you handle it. But I know people have to go to work, they have jobs, they have gigs, they have different things that they have to do. So, I mean, you could probably only hide it so much, but I feel like there is kind of a workaround if you're self-conscious about it, or you maybe just don't want to show your hair until you get to a certain point, or maybe you never want anybody to know and you just are trying to like cover it up until you get to a point where it's not noticeable. I don't know your situation, but there's that. I will say one thing that helped me out too. So this is a shameless plug. I got this beanie. I got this beanie off the TikTok shop. I'm gonna show you guys. Let me grab it. Anybody that knows me, anybody that talks to me often enough has seen this beanie. So I got this beanie off the TikTok shop. It looks like a regular beanie. It's a regular beanie. It looks like a regular beanie that you could buy from any store, but the inside is made of satin. It's all satin. It's machine washable. I got this off the TikTok shop. So if you got, a hair transplant and your hair is growing back and, you got to be around people and you just want to put something over your hair for the time being, but you want to protect your hair, this something like this is an option. It's like wearing a bonnet outside, but nobody knows. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. So look, nobody's gonna know. How could they know? They're never gonna know. Nobody's ever gonna know. Nobody's ever going to know. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. Let's get you one of these. Get you one of these. Nobody's gonna know. So yeah, that's like one thing I did. But like I said, for the most part, I didn't really wear hats. Like me personally, I was like, I'm gonna let my hair breathe. I'm gonna let my scalp breathe. I don't want to be wearing hats all the time. And some people probably wear hats a lot because they're insecure about their hair. During this process, I would say don't wear hats so much. Let your hair breathe. Let the and you wanna be really conscious of your hair and the grafts because the grafts are very fragile right after you get the transplant. Like you just want to be careful. You don't want to damage them or anything like that. So especially like tight fitted hats and stuff like that. I believe after the first month or two, like after the first month, you can like wear hats and go to the gym and stuff like that. So just be really careful. Be very cautious. Be very careful, because I know those first couple days after getting the hair transplant are a struggle. Those first couple days after you get your hair transplant, those first couple days after you get your hair transplant are a struggle. Like it's no joke. You gotta be very careful. You're tired. You gotta move different. Your head feels weird. Like it's a lot going on. All right, so there you have it. Those are the 5 most commonly questions that I've been asked about having my hair transplant. Definitely stay tuned for more videos. I'm gonna get into more subjects, give you guys guidance on things that I've learned, what's working for me, what's not working for me. And I'm also gonna update you guys on my progress from my first month of getting the hair transplant to my current 12-month results and where I'm currently at. So I'm definitely just gonna talk about all things like hair transplants. I'm gonna be doing vlogs, just so not everything is gonna be about hair transplants, but I'm definitely gonna be giving a lot of videos about hair transplants since I did not post on here from the beginning of my journey to where I'm at now. So I'm kind of gonna play catch up a little bit and just put out a bunch of videos about what I've learned and just my journey and my results. So stay tuned for that and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe, comment. If you have any questions, comment down below. I'm very easygoing, so you're like more than free to ask me questions and I'll respond when I see your comments and stuff like that. So anything that you want to ask me, like just go ahead and ask me in the comments below. And just stay tuned. I'm gonna definitely be putting out some more videos about hair transplants and trying to help anybody out that has questions about it or is thinking about doing it. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Peace. Stay wealthy, stay sexy, stay healthy, and be your best self.